The NASCAR Sprint Cup Series raced at New Hampshire Motor Speedway for the 29th time on Sunday. For a second straight June, Mother Nature intervened and put a local New England native into the winner's circle.
41 to go. Rain could be imminent.
Boy, Tony Gibson and Ryan Newman are wanting to steal a win here today in New Hampshire. They're going to try and hold off this pit stop as long as they can.
He is going to surrender the lead here. The mist and the rain getting heavier here right now. Logano still on point.
34 laps to go. The rain is here.
Hopefully it just keeps on raining. I tell you, this will be a dream come true, that's for sure.
NASCAR has declared the race official. Congratulations to Joey Logano, winner.
Middletown, Connecticut native Joey Logano was in the right place at the right time, leading when the rains came, to become the youngest winner in NASCAR Sprint Cup Series history. Jeff Gordon finished second for the third time in the last 5 New Hampshire races, and a third straight top 10 for Brad Keselowski in Cup competition. The incredible action from double file restarts, the guys who contended but didn't win, and the adventurous day that ended up in victory lane for Logano, all reviewed by our roundtable panel next on NASCAR Now.
NASCAR Now is presented by the Home Depot.
From the Home Depot Garage Studio, we welcome you to the waterlogged again edition of the NASCAR Now Monday Roundtable. It rained in New Hampshire for the 15th time in 19 days on Sunday. Rain that put a twist of plot into the finish of the race and put a first-time winner into victory lane. We review that over the next hour and much more with our roundtable panel. This week, Big Brad Daugherty, our champion crew chief Tim Brewer, and we welcome to the panel Steve Park. What was the thing that struck you most about Sunday's race?
For me, it was the rain.
Well, you know, it's typical. You know, Zippy, he had an opportunity. He capitalized on it, sent Joey to victory lane. Great fuel mileage race.
I think just having a first-time winner, having a young guy like Joe Logano end up in victory lane and not having repeat winners at New Hampshire is pretty, I think that's pretty intact still, so it's pretty exciting to see a guy that lives so close win a race.
And welcome to the group, by the way.
Well, thanks for having me, guys. I'm distinguished panel of hosts.
Let's not get carried away. I got enough trouble handling these guys' heads. Steve Park, a winner in all 3 NASCAR National Series, winner on what is now the Sprint Cup Series, and at this moment racing in the NASCAR Camping World East Series. How about that? Huh? Pretty cool deal?
Oh, yeah, it was a lot of fun. And just like we were talking about with Joey, you always remember your first win, no matter where it comes from. And being so close to home for him, he's going to relish this win forever, just like I did my first win.
Well, we're glad to have you here. Glad you can make it over to join us.
Thank you.
So let's talk about Sunday's race. Starting with Joey Logano, I've titled this piece, "What an Adventure It Was." Joey Logano won the race, but it sure was an adventure getting there. Started 24th and kind of slogged along for the first half of the race in the middle of the thick traffic, going a lap down here as the leaders, Jimmy Johnson and Jeff Gordon, raced around his effort to stay on the lead lap. When the caution waved at lap 169 for trouble on Paul Menard's car, Logano gets the free pass, which is good. Then on the ensuing restart, the big wreck happened, and watch Logano.
Yeah, look right on the bottom here. You don't realize that, but look at the orange car in the back, going low, almost through the grass to miss this wreck and keep his car in one piece. And, you know, you don't realize that how much that's going to pay off at the end of the race right now, but everybody knows what happened at the end and overcame a lot of adversity to get that first win.
So after the red flag for cleanup, he gets pinched.
Yep, he gets pinched off a little bit. The guy had a great opportunity to take advantage of the situation, getting the lucky dog, but this puts him down a lap after he gets left rear tire on it.
Got a lap down with a flat tire, got the free pass back there when Scott Speed spun just 5 laps later. Then when all the leaders started pitting under green at lap 235, it puts Ryan Newman out front. It moves Logano up into second. Then when Newman's tank runs dry, it puts Logano in the lead. And what's he trying to do now?
He's trying to survive, Alan. That's all you can do. He got out of sequence with the pit stop, so he's got a load of fuel. Zippy knows it. Zippy's going to capitalize.
2 laps later, it begins to rain. Logano runs behind the pace car 8 more laps. The cars are parked, the race is called, and Logano's a winner.
I tell you, this is the perfect place to get your first win. You know, it's pretty much my home track. I'd call this where I watched my first Cup race, and to get your first win here was it's cool. You know, I'll take them any way I can get them for sure. You know, we obviously didn't have the car to win, but made the right move at the right time, and a little luck on our side, and we were able to get it.
We know today we were fortunate, and we know there'll probably be some tough days out there for us, but absolutely thrilled for Joey and his family, and for us, all of us at Joe Gibbs Racing. We figure if we keep this going, we can ride this thing for about 20 years.
Last year we were in the complete opposite. We should have won this race. We dominated most of the second half, and it rained with 30 or so to go, and we had to pit for fuel, and you know, today we got it back.
Yeah, Zippy, what goes around comes around sometimes. Let's talk about that youngest driver to win thing. Logano at 19 years, 35 days, not only the youngest to win a Sprint Cup Series race, now the youngest also to win in the Nationwide Series. Kyle Busch was and is still the youngest Truck Series race winner. So if you look back at all the things Joey Logano had to overcome to be in position to try and win that race, you'd have never thought he'd have had a shot.
I wouldn't have. And as you look back on it, for me, the wreck at lap 182 really gave him an opportunity, because he had to come in a couple times and top off fuel to have enough fuel at the end of the race to win it. So it was actually a blessing to cut that left rear tire down.
And I guess the lesson in all of this is, and I know we've said this a number of times before on these shows, but never give up.
No, you can't ever give up, but still yet, he probably didn't have the best handling car, and sometimes, Alan, that key to fuel mileage, if you can't get in the gas, you can't burn a lot of fuel.
Yeah, there you go. So then, how come it worked out for Logano and it didn't for Ryan Newman? They pitted at the exact same time at lap 183 on the big restart wreck. Newman got damage as well. Remember, we saw where he and Logano got together and pinched. Well, Newman got damage and had to pit as well, so they both stopped and topped off the fuel at the same time. How come Logano got 5 laps farther? Like you said before.
Pretty much the same thing, Alan. You know, I've been in that situation at Rockingham. We had a terrible race car, but we had to rely on fuel mileage. That got us to victory lane. But we didn't have the best car, and I don't think Joey had the best car yesterday. He just simply won on fuel mileage.
Yeah, and that's a $200,000 question. I mean, why couldn't Ryan Newman make it to the end of the race like Joey Logano did? And you know, just like you said, you know, Ryan Newman, when he was out front, he was probably burning up a lot of fuel, and Joey was trying not running this as fast as he was and trying to save a little bit of fuel, and it worked out. I don't know how many laps he went more, but it was enough to win the race.
What do you think was going through his head when all of a sudden he's told, because one of his reactions after the race was, I didn't even know I was leading. What do you think went through his head? He's like, okay, you're leading, the rains are coming, save gas.
Yeah, I mean, if you looked right there too in that last pit stop, he was really working hard. The team were working hard, pulling out the fenders and getting the car ready to go back to racing again. And you know, Joey did a great job. I mean, people say that, you know, you might have lucked into the win, but you had to have a race car at the end of the race in order to win the race. And he did a good job not only getting the flat and coming back from the spin and getting the fuel he needed to win, but keeping that car in one piece, missing the big wreck, and you know, things were on his side that week.
You mentioned how the win will be perceived, and let me ask you about that. He wasn't a contender through the race, right? He's had a couple of good runs, but hasn't been a front runner regularly to this point. So how will this win be received by fans and his competitors?
Well, I think it'll be split. I think a lot of his competitors are going to look at it and say, you know, hey, he didn't really win the race. His fans obviously are going to jump up and down and say, we won. But, you know, Joey Logano is going to win a lot of races outright, and that's the way I like to see him. But you can't control the weather and circumstances, things happen.
Hey, it's a win is a win. Hey, all the races I've ever won, a lot of them was fuel mileage. A lot of them we had the best race car. Like Zippy said, hey, we had the best car here last year. Hey, we ran out of fuel, so he got one back. Take them any way you can get them. They don't put fuel mileage out beside that win. They don't put dominant. Hey, we won them by 4 laps. I hadn't seen that in the record book yet, so I'm going to take it, Alan.
Yeah, you guys are familiar with the term stolen races, right? Brewer's well familiar with the stolen number over the years.
Hey, they count too.
When a guy's not a factor all day but gets the trophy, we call that stealing a win. This is yours, right?
Oh, you mean that 1991 Jeff Bodine? That was a great fuel cell and great day for the Budweiser car.
How about 1992 Southern 500? Davey Allison pits with rain approaching. Darrell Waltrip stays on the track and gets to do the victory shuffle. And more recent times, referred to a year ago, Tony Stewart led a lot in the later part of the race, but he had to pit. Kurt Busch stayed on the track. It started raining. The 2-car got the win. And even earlier this year, David Rudiman gets his first win by not pitting when some of the others did, and the rains came. That was all she wrote. Rudiman with the trophy. Tack onto that now, Joey Logano, free passes, spins, and strategy. Somehow it all came together to get him onto the list of NASCAR Sprint Cup Series race winners. Always there are questions after one of these rain-altered outcomes, so naturally our poll people wanted to ask you one of those questions. Log on to ESPN.com. Tell us what you think of that. If you vote for the bottom one, I will be very disappointed in you. Later in the show, Sunday's winner Joey Logano joins us via satellite from the Joe Gibbs Racing Shops outside of Charlotte. His thoughts the day after in a bit. Usually we talk about the big one at Daytona or Talladega, but we have one Sunday in New Hampshire. We'll show and talk. But up next, there were 4 guys who dominated most of Sunday's race but didn't win their days, including the very entertaining restarts, next.
NASCAR Now, presented by The Home Depot. Visit HomeDepot.com. More saving, more doing. That's the power of The Home Depot.
Much of Sunday's race was dominated by Jeff Gordon, Kurt Busch, Tony Stewart, and Jimmy Johnson, who between them led 225 of the 273 laps. They had some great action between those guys up the front of the pack.
I'll tell you what, Jeff Gordon drove his guts out yesterday. He really had a good race car and was a guy to beat early.
Now Jimmy Johnson moved in, led most of laps 50 to 152, but lost the lead on pit road. Maybe had something to do with where they pit for a pit stop, because he's still coming out of his stall when cars are still coming in on a 2-tire stop. It shuffled Jimmy back from the lead. Then he got backed up even more in this. That was turn 1. That was Kurt Busch. They were racing for 3rd. Jimmy got shuffled back to 10th at the time. Just after that, Tony Stewart took over the lead. Now we flash back. Tony started from the pole, but in a backup car after a practice crash. Remember this? But they got on the track Saturday with the backup car. Didn't have to go to the back because there was no qualifying for rain. Faded early, got to the front, then had this problem.
Anytime you have an issue on pit road and give up seconds, you give up track position, it's hard to recover.
When the rains came, Gordon was 2nd, Busch 3rd, Stewart 5th, Johnson 9th.
I'm a little disappointed that we didn't get the 10 bonus points, because we had a great shot at it with a great run. But it is a bit of a wash, because at least nobody else that we're racing right now in the championship, or in the top 12 or 14, got them either. So yeah, it's like nobody got 10 bonus points kind of.
It's tough for me to really feel awful about a 3rd place finish because of the way we won here last year under the same circumstances. Yes, we had a fast car today. That's the big picture for us. We look strong heading into this race in September. That's the best that we can take out of it. And yeah, 10 points. He didn't get them, I didn't get them, so I call him a wash. And we'll come back here and race in September.
We just weren't tight enough at the beginning, and we needed to take that early opportunity to come in and make an adjustment. We knew we weren't going to take fuel, but it gave us a chance to take 4 tires then, and then know that when we did get the competition caution that we could only take 2 and get some of that track position back. We didn't gain much of it back, but we ended up having a car that was good enough to drive back through there.
So how dominant were those 4 cars? Gordon, Johnson, Busch, and Stewart led over 82% of the laps on Sunday and ran as a top 4 for a 1/3 of the race. None of them, however, took home the trophy. Reaction to what you heard from some of those guys?
Well, I thought it was interesting, the comment that Kurt Busch made about winning last year, the way he won last year, as we talk about whether or not it's a tainted win. But, he was really good. Jeff Gordon was outstanding yesterday. Tony Stewart was strong. It was a wash for those guys, so we move on. We go to Daytona next week to see what happens.
Pick apart a couple of specific things that we saw. Pit stop troubles. Gordon's team had a clean day, but each of the other dominators had a moment. I still think where their pit was here, Brew, and the fact that this was a 2-tire change affected Johnson's stop.
Chad Canals is a great crew chief, Allen, but still yet, being down there at the entrance of pit road, I'd never put my crew in jeopardy down there because, like you said, when they change the right side tires, they're in jeopardy of getting run over. When you're trying to get back into pit road, you're in the flow of traffic. It's a bad pit, in my opinion.
And then we saw that both the 2 and the 14 have troubles on the right front. Are there more things going wrong on pit road, or are we just noticing them more because the competition is so tight?
I think we're noticing it more. I mean, I think it means so much, not only on the racetrack, but during those pit stops that, you know, races are definitely won and lost in the pits. So it's, you know, there's more attention with television paid to what the pit stops are doing and what these guys are doing in the pit. So it's truly a team sport where these guys got to do their job on the racetrack, but these guys got to do their job in the pits also.
The restarts. They were intense. They were fun to watch, at least from where we watched. I don't know what they were like from inside the race cars, but they were fun. Gordon, Busch, Johnson, and then Stewart later on.
Yeah, I mean, this racetrack is great for the double file restart simply because you run off into these flat corners and you are flat toting the mail. There's no grip. It's hard. The cars are sliding around. It's exciting lap after lap.
Crew chief's hollering at the driver all week. Track position, don't give anything up. The crew, don't give anything up. And when you see an opportunity, you're going to try to take it. But you can't give anything up, Alan. You have to go after it tooth and nail every lap.
What do you think it's like for these guys inside the car in these double file restarts, Steve? I mean, that's what you've been doing for a while now.
You're right, Alan. I mean, it's tense. I mean, you know, double file restarts, like Tim was saying, you know, you're not just giving spots anymore. I mean, it's racing. It's kind of what we all were brought up to do. And to double file, to start these guys double file is something I think it's great for the fans to see. All the feedback I'm getting is that people just love every time the restarts come out and see what kind of action they see on the racetrack. And just like Tim said, it's important not to give up any spots on those restarts, especially on a short flat track.
I heard some people talking about last night after the race, drivers having to rethink some of their tactics in the race because of these double file restarts. And for that example, I want to look at Kurt Busch and Jimmy Johnson and how basically Jimmy got kicked out of a chance to win, which was this incident in the corner when the guy underneath him slid up.
Yeah, they go down the corner and Kurt just slides a little four-wheel drift. Unfortunately, those four wheels become 8 because Jimmy Johnson's right on his outside fender.
Think about what the double file restart does. It pushes the ground to the inside, but you know, used to, you had a guy to protect your inside, you had to worry about the guy behind you. Now you're in a situation where the guy's racing you on the outside, the guy's racing you behind you. Hey, the driver's got their hands full.
Yeah, it just seems like races are won and lost on these restarts now, and you saw it now. You saw it in the replay where Joey Logano was able to get through some of the adversity, get that flat tire, get spun around. That was on a restart. I mean, just some of the restarts you saw with some of the incidents on the racetrack where they had the big wreck like Talladega. Joey missing it made him win the race on fuel miles, so a lot of important stuff.
It's going to be interesting to see how things continue to change and develop as we get more laps on these double file restarts and more races through it. Again this week, we check out where some of the guys were running and where they ended up because of the rain twisting things around. On lap 225, Joey Logano was running better than 21st. He wound up winning. Brad Keselowski, Casey Mears, you see where they ended up finishing. On the other side of the coin, Ryan Newman had kind of been hanging just outside the lead group all day. And you see Clint Boyer and Mark Martin both, because of the rain and the fuel and all that kind of thing, winding up with poorer finishes than they had. Coming up, we will talk to the winner of Sunday's race, Joey Logano, going to join us about 10 minutes from right now. Wonder what the last 24 hours have been like for him. I'll bet busy. But next, the big wreck. It happened on one of those intense restarts. We hear from some involved and check the impact on the points. That's next on NASCAR Now.
Welcome back to NASCAR Now, presented by the Home Depot.
Trouble entering turn 1. Martin Truex's son collects several cars. We've got 5 or 6 cars coming together, including the machines of Casey Mears. Brian Vickers up against the wall is Jeff Burton's machine. Everybody else will get through.
Kyle Busch was behind Martin Truex Jr. He looked like for a second he almost wanted to make it 3 wide, and then the wreck was on.
Look at the impact, unintended, of the wreck on these drivers, where they were running and where they ended up. Come on now. I knew you'd like that. Look at Truex, was running 7th, finished 37th. Kyle Busch made it through pretty well unscathed. David Ruderman made it through and gained some spots, while Jeff Burton took a huge hit a couple of ways. We'll see him in the championship standings in a minute.
Well, Martin had a good race. You know, the 88 spun his tires, and I shot for the middle, and the middle closed up when the 42 came down a little bit, and pinched myself with the 1. I just barely tapped him in the right rear, and sent him sideways and then spinning down a front stretch, man. I hate it for those guys. I don't know if they're in a chase berth or not, but you know, hate it for Martin and Jeff Burton and the rest of the guys that got tore up there. So my fault on that deal.
You know, hindsight's always 20/20, and maybe I would have went low or checked up more. But I thought that you know, I thought the top of the track was clear, and as soon as I could see light, all of a sudden it wasn't clear.
Yeah, that sucked. We had a really fast car, and you know, we just I don't know what happened. Everybody got checked up, and I turned underneath them because, you know, I knew something was going on, and I don't even know who turned in front of me, and just, you know, they all got bottled up in front of us.
I got to see the replay in the medical center there. It looked like Kyle was just being impatient like normal. Hooked the one, turned him in front of the field. Yeah, it's a shame. I had a friend tell me the other week, stupid's forever. There you go.
You know, Kyle just lost his head like he usually does when something bad happens. So he just decided he wasn't going to lift. He was going to turn me on the straightaway for no reason at all. So, I mean, we're at a track here. This isn't Pocono or Michigan. The front straightaway isn't 30 car lengths wide. You know, people get checked up. You just got to chill out and wait. You know, and wait till you can race them. You're not going to win a race on a restart, basically, with 150 laps to go or whatever it was, 125 laps to go. So it's just, there's no reason for it. Our race cars tore up, and I'm pissed about it.
Okay. So let's talk about the wreck, how it started, and your reaction to what you just heard.
Did he say stupid as forever?
Brad, I'm not going there.
He did, actually, yes.
I think it comes and goes, but it may be forever. That was really unfortunate. I mean, if you look at it, Martin Truex Jr. had a great race car, was putting himself in a good position. And Kyle, I mean, he was really contrite and apologized. He said it was completely his fault. So it's just one of those deals. We kind of let that go. But it's funny listening to all the feedback and lashback there.
Yeah, but I beg to differ. You know, it's a situation to where the crew chief's aggressive. Hey, go, go, go. Well, that's the reason you're up front, to go through the gears and get going. Earnhardt spun the tires. He was trying to get going. He didn't succeed in that. Kyle popped him. I mean, that's where it started.
It's an accident.
But you can win a race on a restart.
Yeah.
We were talking earlier today, the hole that Kyle Busch went for. You've been in these race cars and all these kind of restarts. That hole has got to be tempting.
Or lack thereof. It's kind of tough. I mean, you know, these double file restarts, I hate to see them be blamed for this, because this can happen in the old-fashioned as well as it does with their double file restarts. And you know, just, you know, the intensity level as the driver just gets up there to the point where he starts an opening that maybe he could have got his car into, and obviously he couldn't, and ended up wrecking a lot of race cars and putting a lot of guys out of the race. And he come out smelling like a rose, though, and but he did apologize, and which was nice. And you know, it doesn't make up for the wrecked race cars, but it definitely shows a point that, you know, he knows himself. He went for a hole that wasn't there, and it closed up on him.
Let me follow up on something you just said. Some drivers will talk about the double file restarts as not being a good thing. Any wavering on any of your parts that they're a great thing for the fans and that wins?
I think they're a great thing for the fans.
They're wonderful.
I think they're great for the crew chiefs. I think that it gives you an opportunity to get up front and race.
Yeah.
You know, that's what I like about it. The fans, it's great, but hey, it's great for competitors.
Puts a ton of pressure on the drivers, though, and they really have to be on their A game, and we're going to see mistakes like this for the rest of the year as long as we have double file restarts. But it is so exciting, and the racing is outstanding.
But that's what this is all about, too.
Yep.
I mean, they're out there racing.
Yep.
Yeah.
I mean, racing is side-by-side racing. That's what the fans want to see, and you know, the feedback from them is overwhelming. They really enjoying it.
And the quote of the year?
Yeah.
Stupid.
I'm glad Truex didn't throw that $1,500 helmet at him.
Yeah.
Well, following up on that, you know, the talk about let's have drivers show their personalities.
Yeah, that's right.
I mean, you might not like what he said, but it was fun.
Oh, I think it's great. I think it's great. You get that raw emotion, the true emotion, and we got to be able to take it and have some fun with it. And I saw Brown was laughing when he said it, but that's great, man.
Yeah.
Stupid is forever.
I want to talk about more with these restarts here just for a minute, Tim. You know, as a crew chief, all right, so this is the new wrinkle we're dealing with now. I know I got to restart another guy with a good car next to me. And I'm watching Jeff Gordon and Kurt Busch go time and time again on these restarts, and it seemed like Gordon got a jump on him most times. What can the teams do car-wise to help the driver with a restart? Now, let's pick it apart for a minute. Your rear gear ratio is limited, right?
Yes, you're within 10 points on everybody, but still yet, NASCAR will allow you to manipulate first and second gear, but third and fourth gear, that's mandated what you have to run. A lot of the guys are trying to restart at a higher RPM in first gear, and that enables them. When they hit the gas, they're turning like 6,500 RPMs maybe, and Alan, when you touch that throttle, it's going to spin the rear tires, because the other guys, they're moving the same speed, they're in a higher gear in second gear. That enables them to, get a pretty good start. But when those transmissions, when the guys start playing with them, they bring a lot of that on themselves.
Everything you gain in a race car, you give up somewhere else.
Exactly.
So if you're gaining on the restarts by manipulating that first and second gear ratios, what are you giving up? Pit stops, getting away from your pit stall?
When you get in a pit stall, but it's not too bad in Loudon, because you've got like a mid 400, 450 gear in the back of the car. But when you get to Daytona and Talladega and you got a long first gear in it, when you come in on a green flag pit stop, they're going to smoke you.
It'll be interesting to see as this develops, the kind of talk you hear around the garage about what teams are doing to adapt to double file restarts. Now, the championship standings. I talked about the impact, pun intended. Who cares about the top? But look at the bubble. There are only 17 points from 10th place, Matt Kenseth, through 14th place, David Ruderman. And by the way, Jeff Burton had the real impact. He's now dropped 108 points behind 12th place in the race to the chase.
Well, I'll tell you, those RCR cars are really having a tough year. Hope to see Clint Boyer and Jeff Burton and Kevin Harvick get back in the mix soon.
All right, still to come on the NASCAR Now Monday Roundtable, the Saturday action for the NASCAR Nationwide Series in New Hampshire and Camping World Truck Series in Memphis. We'll look at who won and how.
Remember, stupid is forever.
But next, the young man who took home the trophy Sunday, Sprint Cup Series winner Joey Logano joins us to talk about it.
This is one of those kind of murky days. We're not going to have a whole lot of sunshine.
Rain could be a factor. Is anybody going to play the weather game?
Everybody's ready to race, man. I've never seen guys warm their tires up so much in my life. Everybody's expecting a little bit of rain. People are going to try to stay up front as much as possible here. It's going to be a little rain coming probably at some point. We're going to wait it out and hopefully be up front when it happens.
Tony Stewart, Jeff Gordon about to lead the field to the green.
They head down the front stretch and take the green flag.
Gordon giving absolutely no ground on the top side of the racetrack. They take that top spot away from Stewart.
You know, we're pretty damn good.
Here they go for the lead off of turn 2. Kurt Busch to the inside of Jeff Gordon.
And Q-Car, if he pushes me up out of the groove, he better make sure he does it all the way because he's not going to make the next corner.
Clouds starting to darken a little bit here. I know that's going to play into the mindset of these crew chiefs and these drivers.
But I can't come off the corner to save my life. I'm just sideways. The racetrack's a little damp here. I mean, we got that light mist, so just hang in there.
Trouble at turn 2. Two cars tangling in the process.
Joey Logano with a flat left rear tire brings out the caution flag.
He just freaking, like, what the hell?
Trouble! Martin Truex's turn collects several cars.
Don't normally see this kind of accident at New Hampshire Motor Speedway.
Wow, that was a damn mess right there. I'm watching on TV. We definitely know who the one car's mad at. That would be the 18.
Joey Logano got the lucky dog free pass under this caution.
It's go time for all these drivers.
Tony Stewart races to the inside of Jeff Gordon. Your new leader is Tony Stewart.
You got rain coming on the way too, so just keep gigging for everything you got.
At some point, very soon, the leaders are going to have to make a green flag pit stop.
3, 2, 1, right here. 4 tires of gas, guys. Next post.
That's only a couple of seconds that he got hung up on that right front, but that's 5 spots.
Go, clear, get it.
Brian Newman now is being shown as the race leader.
About 14 laps till we pit. The rain's real close. 10-4, we miss safe fuel. You can do that. I don't know. I'd run like hell, old man. Amount of fuel coming in, amount of fuel.
Brian Newman now on the pit road. He is going to surrender the lead. Joey Logano on point, begging for the upset.
Save fuel for me. You got to save fuel. We're good for about 3 to 5 laps there. Stay in front of that too. The 20's going to have to pit. You'll be the leader. There's no way he's got much fuel in that thing. Caution's out. Caution is out.
The rain is here.
How many lucky dogs did he get today? Couple. Keep your fingers crossed. Say a prayer. Go spinning it out now. Racetrack's wet. You ain't kidding.
NASCAR has declared the race official. Congratulations to Joey Logano, the youngest Sprint Cup winner ever.
quick look through some numbers from Sunday. 21 lead changes among 14 drivers. Jimmy Johnson led a race-high 93 laps, 11 caution flags, 1 mid-race red flag, not including the one for rain that ended the thing and put Joey Logano in the winner's circle. Things happen fast when you win a race, right? The interviews, the pictures, off to the airport for the trip home. Sometimes it doesn't quite sink in at the moment. So what about a day later? Let's bring in the winner of Sunday's race from New Hampshire, from the Joe Gibbs Racing Shops now in Huntersville, North Carolina, Joey Logano. Congratulations. Has it sunk in yet?
Yeah, a little bit. I don't think it really has. You know, we got done, did the victory lane thing, and I thought that was awesome. And, you know, pretty much got back to the airport, went home, and I couldn't sleep at all. I was so excited. So I just kind of been going all day, but I don't think it's really sunk in yet.
And Joey, Steve Park here, and congratulations on your first win. And just tell the fans a little bit about what it's like to get that first win, and also being so close to your home in New England. How much your family and your friends have pretty much congratulated you. And I know you're back in North Carolina, but I'm sure you've gotten a lot of phone calls.
Oh yeah, my phone's been ringing off the hook all day long, I tell you what. But I couldn't have picked a better racetrack to win my first race at. You know, a lot of family and friends were there at the racetrack, so that was perfect. You know, and I've been telling everyone this is, you know, where I watched my first Cup race, where I ran my first Cup race, and where I won my first Cup race. So it's pretty neat to have that all, you know, kind of at your home racetrack. You know, I grew up about 2 hours away from there, so that was pretty neat.
Joey, congratulations. This is Tim Brewer. I got a question for you. We had an opportunity to read J-Ski, and I read where when David Ruderman won the race and Rodney Childress, the owner of Michael Waltrip Racing, gave him a brand new car. Well, not an old car, it's 1967 GT Shelby 500. What could Joe Gibbs give you in a token of appreciation to make you a happy young man?
Well, I know Coach has got this old, it's a 37 Ford. He's got it hot rodded out. I mean, this thing it's real nice. I think I was the first one to drive it. I drove it into the trailer for him because they're taking it to a hot rod show. So that'd be awesome. But I'm pretty sure that ain't gonna happen.
Yeah. Well, I wish you the best with that, Joey.
Joey, this is Brad Daugherty.
Yeah, you're gonna wish me a lot of luck for that one.
Joey, this is Brad Daugherty. And question I want to ask is, obviously there's a lot of expectations of you coming into the sport. And does this relieve any of those expectations? Do you feel any pressure being relieved from your shoulders getting this victory, or is it really non-existent?
I think it relieves a lot of pressure, yeah. I mean, if you look at the Home Depot Toyota, you know, for the last, 11 years, they've won a race, every single year. So they've been in victory lane at least once every year. So that's, that was a big pressure on me, as I wanted to keep that tradition going for these guys. A lot of these guys have been on the team since it started 11 years ago. So, it's awesome to kind of keep that going. Everything worked out perfect, obviously, in our favor for that to happen. But I tell you, it's just awesome just to kind of keep that going.
So, Joey, in racing, you don't get to celebrate for long, and already you have Daytona staring you in the face. And starting at Daytona, you begin going back to tracks for the second time around this year. What do you expect to be different the second time around?
Daytona's a beast of its own. I don't feel like we didn't get enough laps there to, kind of, like I've been saying, halfway through the race or a little bit past that is where we kind of excel and kind of I finally figure out where I need to be and able to work on the car and pick up a lot of speed. We were able to do that at the end of the race at New Hampshire. Daytona was the one place we weren't able to do that. So yeah, it's gonna be tough for sure. We'll see what we can do. I mean, it's going to be a completely different track than what it was in February. It's going to be so hot out there. It's going to be slipping and sliding everywhere. So, we'll just focus hard on getting this thing handling good, and so we can race these guys.
Joey, congratulations on the win. Thanks for the time. Good luck with that 37 Ford, and we'll see you in Daytona.
All right, thanks, guys.
Up next, we tell some stories, including picking Parky's brain about being brought to the big time by Big E. That'll be fun. And we will show you the race of the weekend from New Hampshire, the Whelen Modified Series event that is certainly worth another look.
This is NASCAR Now, presented by the Home Depot.
wound up. I just watched that modified race, and I'm telling you, that's one of the most amazing races I've seen.
Okay, so we're sitting in the pit studio watching that, getting ready to do the nationwide race Saturday. I didn't know they had our microphones open down the satellites of the world, but apparently so. That's how we reacted watching it. Every time there's a New Hampshire race weekend, people walk away saying the NASCAR Whelen Modified Series race was the best of the weekend. And that finish you saw, it's just not just the finish, it's the racing all race long. And I was asked the question by someone, and I'll let you explain why, but why aren't the Cup cars able to do that same kind of racing on the same track?
Oh, it's simple. They're just two different animals. I mean, you look at this Cup car that has a high center of gravity, it has a big greenhouse, smaller tire, weighs about 1,000 pounds more. They're just not capable because of the lack of downforce to put on this exciting side-by-side stick and groove racing. Two different animals.
And so you see by the graphic on the bottom there where I'm going with this next, NASCAR's talked about looking into changes to the Cup car. Are there lessons on the type of racing the Modifieds put on that could be considered?
You got a situation like Brad said, it's a completely different animal. You know, there's fenders over the tires. There's a bad situation because you can't even compare these cars. You know, they got 15-inch tires on them opposed to a 10-inch tire. You know, the weight alone, but the horsepower, the Cup cars have over 850 horsepower. These cars have restrictor plates. They don't have anywhere close to that. They stop on a dime. They turn in the center of the corner. They have a lot of acceleration, but still yet, completely different animal. But if you want to see a good modified race, go to Bristol. It's going to be a good one.
Go see a modified race.
I mean, I think you guys said it best. They're two different animals. I mean, you know, racing modifieds and also racing Cup cars at a place like Loudon. To me, when we went there in the modified cars, like going to Daytona, and you see races like that at Daytona and Talladega. So, I mean, it's just two different animals. Modified cars made for the short tracks. When it goes to a place like Loudon, it's like going to Daytona. And when we all go to Daytona to watch these Cup races, we see races just like that.
Absolutely. Now, we were sitting around earlier today sharing some stories at lunch and sharing some Dale Earnhardt stories. We all have our experiences, but none of us have the kind that Steve Park does because Big E was the guy that brought Steve to big-time NASCAR racing from New England. So how does one go about ignoring phone calls from Dale Earnhardt?
Yes, that's kind of how the story goes. And I think maybe I go down the record book for the first guy to ignore a phone call from Dale Earnhardt. So, you know, one of the things, you know, we just watched the Modifieds, and Bobby Hutchins is a friend of mine that I met through the Modified series, and he was the engineer for Richard Childress at the time, and through him, I kept bugging him. I said, Bobby, you gotta get me a meeting with Richard because I want to drive his truck. And he finally got me that meeting, and I got to see Richard and hang out with him, talk to him, and tell him I'll sleep on the garage floor, do whatever I can to get an opportunity to race the number 3 truck. And through that meeting, he told Dale Earnhardt, he said, hey, you watch this kid in that modified car. It's the guy that I'm talking to that I might have come work for me. And next thing you know, I got a phone call at my house, and it was Dale Earnhardt. And after missing the first phone call and coming back again, I definitely called him back.
So he left a message on your machine. You came home, listened to the message, and said,
just ignored it. I mean, I just ignored it. I mean, I had a lot of friends of mine that kind of played tricks on me and stuff, and I didn't want to fall prey to the trick, so what I did was I just ignored it. I didn't go home. I didn't go to the racetrack and tell my friends, hey, you're not going to believe who called me, because they'd be like, I told you, it was us pulling a prank on you. So after the second time he called, he was nice the first time. The second time he called, he wasn't as nice as the first time. And that's what Dale Earnhardt used to see on TV. So I said I better call him back, and that's what I did. And sure enough, when they said that he was looking for me, I almost dropped the phone and passed out. And thank God we got a chance to talk, and the rest is history.
It's pretty fun.
Yeah, it's fun.
And calling Dale Earnhardt back was not. You're hung on that phrase now. Come on.
Stupid is forever.
Hey, it's his first show, man. Don't put him under the gun like that.
Oh, but no,
Stupid is forever.
Hey,
there you go.
Hey, I'm new to the panel, so.
That's okay. Brad said that Brad's quoted Brian Vickers about 100 times off the air.
Thank you, Brian.
About the 8 or 9 on the air.
Stupid is forever.
So far. Up next, Nationwide and Truck Series highlights and standings. The Elvis Trophy was in the house. On Tuesday's NASCAR Now, as the Sprint Cup Series gets set to head back to Daytona, the Daytona 500 winner, Matt Kenseth, joins us. He'll be in Madison, Wisconsin, getting ready to run a race that his dad's promoting up at Madison. Saturday, after the modified race, the NASCAR Nationwide Series ran 200 laps at New Hampshire. Kyle Busch started 9th while his teammate Joey Logano was on the pole. Carl Edwards went to the front at lap 60, but had a little problem. Pit stop issues that dropped him from 1st to 8th. He finished 6th. That put Logano back in command, but he couldn't hold off his teammate with 36 to go.
Yeah, Kyle Busch was really strong. I thought Joey Logano was playing possum when he got behind him, but he just couldn't catch him the rest of the day.
Last lap, Kyle gets to the checkers 0.6 of a second ahead of Logano for the win, while behind them the race for 5th goes wrong. That would be Brian Vickers.
Those are Cup teammates. Brian Vickers, who is quoted as saying, "Stupid is forever."
They tangle in turn 4. They tangle on the cool-down lap. They chat afterwards. They were considerably less happy than Kyle Busch, who scored his 5th win in 16 Nationwide Series tries this
season. You know what he told Scott?
Brad, you think you used that line on him?
Kyle added 35 points to his lead. It's a $1.62 going to Daytona this Friday night. Thoughts on the Nationwide Series race?
I thought it was a great race. I mean, I really thought, though, when Joey Logano got behind and Kyle Busch passed him, that he was just kind of laying back in the weeds. I was watching the lap times, and he was quicker than Kyle a lot of over that last about 15-lap run. But, boy, Kyle Busch just pulled away when he got up to his moment.
That's that experience and knowing, you know, the characteristics of your race car, because what did he do? You have to go where he's not, because downforce means so much. When you get to the center of the corner, you better be under him or outside of him if you're going to go around it.
Yeah, and obviously he's fast in that Busch car. We've seen that week in and week out. And Joe Logano said it the best in his interview, where he felt like he was just racing for second. He said he had nothing for him. So.
And for Carl Edwards, we'll never know because of that pit mistake. They got hung back in traffic and just really couldn't go anyplace after that. So Nationwide Series headed to Daytona this Friday night. The NASCAR Camping World Truck Series ran on a hot afternoon in Memphis on Saturday. Ron Hornaday, off his Milwaukee win a week before, was on the pole. He was out front most of the way. Caution erased a big lead, but Hornaday pulled away on the green-white checker, leading 175 of 201 laps. For his 2nd straight win this year and 2nd straight Elvis Trophy before leaving the building. Hornaday's lead in the NASCAR Camping World Truck Series Championship standings, 76 points over Matt Crafton. Mike Skinner, Todd Bodine traded 3rd and 4th places after Memphis. The trucks have a few weeks off. They next race July 18th in Kentucky. Of interest to me for Memphis, the remarks in the drivers' meeting there on Saturday by NASCAR Steve O'Donnell, one of the high-ranking officials. I guess been a lot of rumors and things going around about the Truck Series. Is it coming back next year or not? And Steve O'Donnell got up in the meeting and said, we're going to be here pretty much doing what we are now.
Yeah, and that's good to hear. I mean, the Truck Series is great racing. Really enjoy the series. There's some good young racers in there, and there's some good older racers, just like Ron Hornaday Jr. It's an exciting series of racing. We have to have it, so good to hear.
The Truck Series is one of the best races anywhere you want to go. You know, it's kind of like a throwback to the old modified cars. You know, there's some older guys there, but still, yeah, the racing's great. You know, it needs to continue.
Yeah, I mean, what are we going to do to catch Ron Hornaday? I mean, he's running great week in and week out, and got pretty big muscles on him, too.
He did. That old boy he was standing beside, that guy's considered, he's called himself the world's strongest redneck.
Yeah.
That's what he calls himself, so he was the Grand Marshal.
I can't believe you missed my pun that he picked up the Elvis Trophy before leaving the building. I tried.
It was good.
All right. Up next, news and notes, poll results, and final thoughts on the NASCAR Now Monday Roundtable.
It's Monday.
NASCAR Now, presented by The Home Depot. Visit HomeDepot.com. More saving, more doing. That's the power of The Home Depot.
Wednesday Night Baseball presented by Smirnoff Ice. The Giants and Cardinals at 8 Eastern on ESPN. Will Albert Pujols continue launching the bombs he's been. And then on Sunday Night Baseball presented by Taco Bell, the Rays and the Rangers. That'll be a good one. 8 Eastern ESPN Sunday Night Baseball. Time for a couple quick notes. Court documents showed that NASCAR sent Jeremy Mayfield's urine sample to a second independent lab after a first lab found a positive test. Earnhardt Ganassi Racing President Steve Loletta told NASCAR Scene Daily he expects Bass Pro Shops to stay on with the team for 2010. And Michael Waltrip Racing and Napa Auto Parts have scheduled a press conference for Tuesday, July 7th. Related or not, we'll find out. And our results of our Sports Nation poll from earlier. Your take on Joey Logano's New Hampshire win. A win is a win is a win. Overwhelmingly takes the top spot. But I can't believe 23% of the people said it's tainted. I can't believe that.
It's not a fluke, but it is tainted.
How many tainted wins you got, Brewer?
Not that many, but you know, there again,
stole
like
some on fuel mileage.
yeah, we stole some, but still, yeah, like Zippy said, you know, they owed him one. They give it back to him.
There you go.
A win is a win is a win.
I'll vote that way.
I agree 100% because of the fact that if you look at the record book, there's no asterisk on the side of it that the race was won by rain. So
yeah, I'd forgotten Matt Kenseth.
A win is a win.
500
How about
Absolutely. So, you're 6th in Camping World East Series points right now. Where you race next?
We race actually at Thompson Speedway on July 12th.
Here in Connecticut.
Here
Good
in
luck with
Connecticut.
that. We'll keep our eyes on you. Thanks for coming by. I know you're coming back to do some more shows with us as well.
Well, I hope so, and thanks for having me, guys. And like I said, a distinguished panel and a little stupid me.
I told you. Just don't go there. Brewer, what do you got to say for yourself? Final thought.
Looking forward to going to Daytona. The only thing I can say about Daytona, I miss seeing Mr. Phil France Jr. down there every time I go.
Yeah. Yep.
Only thing I got to say, boys.
No, here we go.
Can't wait to get to Daytona this week. Let them boys fire them things up and go racing. And stupid is forever.
You are going to wear Brian Vickers
Brian
out,
Vickers
aren't
is my
you?
new hero.
All right. Congrats to Joey Logano. Thanks to Brad, Brew, and Steve Park. Tuesday, Matt Kenseth on NASCAR Now.